We are now live.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Transit Committee meeting, June 20th, 2023, from 5 to 7. We meet on the third Tuesday of the month, virtually, from 5 to 7. The Transit Committee is a volunteer citizen board designed to offer input and guidance to the Asheville transit system and City Council. We do not set or change routes, control Asheville's transit budget, or have authority over staff, drivers, or the management company. We're a group of citizens like you who are here to ensure community concerns are taken into consideration when setting public transit policy. At this time, I'll move on to check roll. Sandy Aldrich.
You're
I know
muted,
she's here.
Sandy.
She's
Thank
muted.
you so much. Thank you so much. Present.
Thank you. Georgia Burks. Georgia Burks. Joseph Chestnut.
I'm present, Harvey.
Thank you, Joe. Bill said he won't be here today. Philip Lucero. I have to call his name. Philip Lucero. Philip Lucero. Colin Kenton.
I'm here.
Thank you, Colin. Brandon Oliver. Brandon Oliver. At the present time, we do not have a quorum. We'll move on. There's nobody in the queue. New business. Committee membership agenda. The agenda item added to the multimodal transportation committee on this information item for their June 28th, 2023 meeting. Concerning the removal of Philip Lucero as a member of the Transit Committee per Article 3, paragraphs B and C. Some of you may not be familiar with those, so I was prepared to give you a brief synopsis of that. Article 3 in the membership states a composition. Membership of the committee shall be governed by ordinance number 4190 and the rules of procedure of the MMTC. The committee members shall be appointed by the MMTC, and MMTC members appointed by council that represent transit interests shall be automatically appointed by the commission to the committee. B and C state that removal of the committee may be removed at the discretion. The members of the committee may be removed at the discretion of the multimodal transportation committee. Attendance. The failure of any committee member to attend 75% or more of the meetings of the committee held during a 12-month period, unless excused, may be grounds for removal. And that's all of it in a synopsis. But currently, Philip has been absent for 75% of the meetings, and Mr. Lucero has not attended a meeting since joining October 26, 2022. And as I said, multimodal will just take that in consideration in their June 28th meeting. Old business, moving on to old business. Transit committee time frame. Since we don't have a quorum for discussion of time frames, we'll move on to the election of, well, we can't do that either, the vice chair. We have to put that off until another meeting. Joint city and county transit plan update. Staff
Hi,
will
all.
provide an update on recent activities. Thank you, Amber, for being so zealous.
I jumped the gun. Sorry. um,
She's
I have
ready to go.
I'm
Go
ready
ahead.
to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to say I really do not have any new updates on our activities in terms of this, and hope to have additional updates at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Uh, Communications and outreach update. Staff will provide an update on recent activities presentation. I believe that will be Nicole.
Yes, sir. Let me share my screen. Bear with me here. Hmm. Are you able to? Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
Okay. Um, Art system rules. The most recent draft was shared with Transit Committee. I know that you had mentioned that for some reason you weren't able to open up the attachment, but I can share that with you here shortly. Um, and then we can take questions then. This is what they plan on sharing on the bus and at the transit center and on our website. The items you can bring and the items you can't bring. Um, does anyone have any questions or concerns about these items?
Hey, sorry, I just wanted to let you guys know this is Catherine.
Oh, hey,
I
Catherine.
joined in through a phone. Sorry. um, I'm here though. I'm just calling from the beach, so it's been loud over here. But I wanted to jump in and if anybody has any questions about the poster or about the rider rule or system rules, I can help with those. And also, we also have the maps are now on the buses with the URL and the QR code. If anyone needs to use those, they're on all the buses now. And if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
All right,
Yeah,
Joseph
this
has his hand raised.
Okay.
has,
Yes, I saw.
yeah.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Question,
Thank you, Nicole.
looking at the photograph of the poster, it's a little unclear, although unless you read the details, of course, whether it's a motorized scooter or a regular push scooter, if you will. Is there some way to designate that visually, or is this the best that you feel is appropriate?
We can put a caption underneath that image to say motorized scooter, if that helps.
Well, I just think it's a little confusing without it. I think you're going to get a lot of people with the size of these things. They can be folded into a rather small package, and I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that the riders are not confused. That would be helpful.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. We can add captions. In fact, I think it would be good for us to add captions to each of the images. We just need to make sure we're offering it in Spanish and Russian as well. So we're working on that, getting everything translated anyway. But that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right, Harvey has his hand raised.
Yes. Catherine, exactly what did you say was on the buses?
So it's the two maps. One is the overall system map, and the other is the downtown map. Nicole, I can't see what you guys are seeing, but if you can show them that slide so we can get an idea of what
There
they
we
look
go.
like. It's the one we went over last time, but now the official ones have QR codes and URL. And they should be up in the advertisement space above the headspace in the bus.
Okay, those two are on every bus.
Yes, sir. I went ahead and fitted them for a bus, and then the gentlemen that work at night went ahead and put them on all of them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The other thing that I had was we really can't do anything about it, but the cart. Nicole, would you change the screen to the cart? I mean, to those two images you had on there before.
Oh, I apologize. Bear with me.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Nicole. Under the yes, the shopping cart where you put your groceries in. I know it's a nice, nifty little thing to bring aboard, but then again, when they had a whole bunch of quilt and everything else going on top of it, but that's good for groceries. But they seem to use those for like carrying their clothes everywhere too. But we can't. It's up to the driver to change that one. But it does hinder people from getting in between the aisles and getting to their seat. I was just wanting to bring that up. That's about
Okay.
it.
I think the use of that cart was the compromise for individuals who need to bring on a lot of groceries. And the other end of that is the people that end up taking their whole household with them. And we tried to come up with some compromise where you can still load your groceries, but not have something that's so huge on the bus. I think that one was the compromise, but we can always look back at it and suggest something smaller.
Yeah, but it is a good thing to carry the groceries in. But I'll go ahead and, I was just wanting to bring that up. And Kim has her hand up. Go ahead, Councilwoman Roney.
I'm just trying to understand, I guess, what the committee members are saying between the types of scooters and how you would differentiate. If I'm carrying this forward to other council members, hearing that the electric scooters can fold up, electric bikes are able to fold up now really small too. And I'm just wondering, like, because this document's not accessible because it doesn't have language, it's not able to be like low no vision reader. I can see what the staff is trying to present because I have the use of my eyes, but not everyone does. It might be hard to communicate this. So I didn't hear a clear recommendation on the scooter, but also Harvey, what you're talking about with the cart for the bag for the clothes versus cart for the groceries. Can you help me understand more about what I need to understand as your liaison for that?
The cart for the groceries or the scooter, or both of them.
I guess the two things that I'm hearing from y'all right now are how to differentiate the scooter and how to differentiate the cart.
The scooter is necessarily for the handicap. It's a necessary item for that individual. But the only thing I was saying about the grocery cart was they tend to, overstack it with different items besides their groceries. But that's when the driver, he has to use his discretion whether he'll let that on the bus or not, because it stops people from getting down the aisle. That's the only thing I was saying about it.
Hey, Kim, I'm sorry. This is Barry. I think we may want to be looking at the scooter as an ADA mobility device, and that may be what we put on there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so if it's an ADA mobility device, then you could use a Razor scooter. I don't know. There's these new things where people have like.
I am unaware that a Razor is an ADA mobility device.
I don't know. I'm curious because I have this one student's mom who uses this electric scooter that she just kneels on with one knee. I don't know how we differentiate that, but I mostly was pointing to
like
the members.
Like the kind you get when you leave a hospital.
Yeah, I guess I just would lean to the transit committee members. I just wasn't fully understanding what folks were pointing to as the differentiation.
The differentiation between battery operated scooter and a foot powered scooter. And so it's no to a battery powered scooter, but a foot powered scooter is okay.
Exactly.
That's what I was focusing on too, Kim.
Yes, the battery power.
Not the ADA accessible device.
Right. Kim, does that answer all your questions?
Yes, thank you for the input.
Thank you. Thank you for checking. Amber has her hand raised.
I just wanted to make sure that we gave the clarification and any additional information that is needed to convey additional information. I think part of it is the ADA, the mobility device versus kind of a recreational, battery operated scooter, which isn't allowed. That's battery operated. And I think Barry was trying to communicate that as well, but we can provide additional information if needed.
Thank you, Amber.
That's all I have.
It's important. Sandy has her hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the shopping cart question. I'm getting ready to purchase one of those myself. And a lot of the people that I see using those are older people, elderly people, and usually females, to make it easier to navigate onto the bus and navigate everything home. I've never seen anybody that is using that overfill it. Ones that I've seen overfilling things are the riders that use the baby carriages to put all kinds of stuff in. And that keeps people from going down the aisle.
Turn this light on, get it off here. Okay, thank you, Sandy. Okay, Nicole, it's on you.
Alrighty. And so that is the end. Bear with me here. And here is the art system rules. Catherine, did you want to take over and explain the updates?
Yeah, so we went through and we had the suggestions we talked about in our last meeting. As a team, we went through each section and corrected the pieces that had been brought up, because you guys brought up a lot of really good points, saying how like the consequences didn't quite make sense for certain things, like it's your band and then you come back. Should your band be, what level should the band be? And so we went through every piece of it, each section, and just kind of addressed it as we had found you guys commented on it, which I thought was really helpful. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to go through it, because you always need more sets of eyes when you're making something. You need a lot of different opinions to help you understand what's going to be useful and what's not. So I appreciate you guys helping us with that. And Harvey, I appreciate you taking the time to to look at the very specific grammar pieces of it too, because you don't want to, let's just be real, you don't want to look like a fool putting something out there and then it just all your grammar is wrong and and nobody understands what it says because you weren't clear. So I really do appreciate you guys taking the time. But yeah, we went ahead and made all those adjustments, and I wish I could see it right now to explain it a little bit better, but I can't. So if you guys see anything that stands out that you wish had been addressed but wasn't, I think, because like you guys don't have a quorum tonight, right? So it wouldn't be, I don't know how that works. So is that, it's not appropriate to make an official approval of it tonight, correct?
No, we're not making a approval of anything today. We don't have a quorum.
Yeah, we will not be able to approve it this evening.
Okay. Well, then that's kind of a good opportunity if you guys want to take another look at it, and if you see anything that wasn't addressed that you wish had been, then definitely take a look and reach out to me, or anybody.
Okay. Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, sir.
Nicole, would you make sure everyone gets that copy of that, because we weren't able to get it on our phones or whatever device we have today?
Yes, sir, will do.
Thank you. Thank you. Joseph has his hand up.
Yeah, given that we don't have a quorum and that these things have been sort of lingering now for a few months, is there any action that MMTC can take independent of the committee, since our input seems to have been incorporated? I'm curious what your feeling about that is, Harvey. Nicole, anybody?
If there was anything that MMTC could do, I haven't thought about it, but what they are doing is making the position available for us to replace Lucero, and also we have another avenue that we went into. We got on the I kept pushing for it as far as getting on the flyer for the boards and commissions, and we have been placed on the boards and commissions flyer as a subcommittee of multimodal, and hopefully that'll get us some more members that are willing to participate and come to the meetings, because we're supposed to have at least 7 members and no more than 11. So that's where we're at right now.
I was only, pardon me, but I was only inquiring as to the rules and getting them out there.
The rules?
Yeah, I mean, is there any interest? Can the MMTC move to approve these rules independent of the transit committee having a quorum to approve them and move them forward?
Amber is in the queue. I'm going to let her go ahead and answer that.
Well, I will allow Kim to answer that if she's our liaison. I think she may want to address that. I was going to
Kim,
thank you all, and
okay.
I'll go back to that after Kim speaks.
My suggestion would be to make an informal recommendation. You can't make a formal recommendation with a vote because you don't have a quorum at this time, but you can make an informal recommendation signaling that I'd like the MMTC to take it up.
And that's just for the rules on the bus.
I mean,
That
I
would-
imagine you can do that for multiple things. You obviously need more members in the multimodal. It would behoove them to, as a subcommittee, for y'all to have more members added. And for them to remove folks who haven't had attendance, so that you could have a quorum even with this number. Because you have 4 people. If you had down to 7 official, then you could be voting right now. So I think some informal recommendations could be to go ahead and remove and appoint members so you can achieve a quorum. And also you could have an informal recommendation that the multimodal go ahead and take up the rules.
Yeah, I'm your liaison to the MMTC, and I would really like to see this move forward, get some of these business items out unless there's a controversy over them. And as I said, I believe the final draft has pretty much addressed all that we raised as a concern. I would like to see it move forward informally at a minimum.
So it seems like if y'all agree, and Joseph's your MMTCA liaison as a member, then I'm happy to email the chair, the MMTC member Joseph, the lead staff. Would that be Amber in this case?
Yes.
And then Councilmember Ullman as the MMTC liaison, and just let them know that these are the agenda items we'd be glad to see y'all take up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can do that.
We could agree with that.
It's been I believe since April or March since they've had a quorum,
Right.
and I don't know what our past precedent has been in terms of like rider rules. We wanted to establish this, and I feel like this group, the committee members, as well as our community partners, as well as our partners at RATP Dev, have really taken a deep dive into this and have really tried to get as much input and incorporate those changes. So I feel like it's been a good faith effort for everybody. So it'd be nice to be able to move those, particularly the rules forward, for them
Yeah.
to post them in the vehicles and give individuals information on this process, and which has been requested from us when we started this.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. That would be excellent for you
Yeah,
to do
thank
that.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I wanted to just thank you all for the time you've spent looking at these. It's been a few months now, but we appreciate all the input and your assistance with the rules.
Thank you also, Joseph, for your input. Moving forward to let's see, that's the ARC system rules up for committee members approval. Transit committee member updates and rider experiences. As I've always put emphasis on this portion of our agenda, the riders, I would like to love for my committee members to, ride the bus and try to get some input from your drivers and people that you're riding with, and maybe you would have more updates or rider experiences as far as when we come to this on our agenda. And before I go into my aspect of it, Kim and Joseph have their hand up. Kim, go ahead, and then Joseph.
Well, Joseph, you go ahead. You're a committee member.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I just wanted to give a shout out. I took the W2 downtown for Friday night after 5 event, and it was the only way I was going to go downtown at that hour, and it worked out really well. We had to walk a block or two after getting dropped, but it was enjoyable and efficient. Had a great time. That's all.
Thank you. That's what I like. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Go ahead, Kim.
Thank you. I figured you might want some fresh content as someone who rides the bus regularly. There have been some issues with trash at the bus stops, and I know this has been like a constant ebb and flow. I did clean up the transit stop by Patton Avenue where Patton meets Louisiana this past weekend. And, wouldn't you know, it was a piece of styrofoam, while we're talking about a plastic and styrofoam ban potentially, had just been like slightly wedged into the hole. For whatever reason, the lid of the trash can has a hole on it. And so all the trash was around the trash can, but the trash can was empty. So I was able to follow up with staff, got an excellent response on another stop where there was some stuff that was too hard for me to pick up. And one of the things that came to mind, I wondered if y'all might think about in the future, is like, what is the process for reporting when there's issues at a bus stop? I mean, what does the report process look like? Where does the report land? Do all the transit committee members have a clear understanding on that reporting process? For me, I can take a picture, I can upload it to the Asheville app, but if it's on a DOT road, there was an issue with it not popping up. So if I was having those problems as a bus rider and wanting to help, but it wasn't really clear to me, and I've been riding the bus for a long time, then maybe it wasn't really clear to everyone. So just wanted to lift up the appreciation I have for staff who responded, and also some curiosity to see if y'all also knew the process for how to address concerns with stops, other than waiting a whole month for every meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. I could answer for staff, and I think I'll let Amber go ahead and answer that.
We have individuals. There's really not like, do you have an issue with the bus stop? Email iRide or use the Asheville app. We don't really have clear directions, to be honest. We do receive a lot of input through in feedback on the stops through iRide. I think we see more on iRide than we do the Asheville app. I think the riders that utilize it use iRide a lot compared to the app. So we're seeing it both. And Catherine, maybe you may want to jump in on this, Catherine and Nicole, because you see them more than I do. But that's how then we forward them to the staff in operations, and they're very good and usually address it immediately if they can go out to it. But that's the internal process. But we don't really have like, do you have issues? We ask anybody who does have any concerns about transit to communicate versus iRide. So we do see a lot of folks give their feedback there.
Thank you,
If I
Amber.
can just add a
Nicole.
little bit. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Nicole.
Catherine, go ahead. You're probably going to say the same thing I am.
Probably. Nicole and I kind of do the same thing. I was just gonna say that we also, like I think 2 times since I've been here, we've sent out a survey for the bus stop inventory, just for anyone to take a survey and explain like which bus stops they're seeing issues with, or what they want to see at each bus stop, what's missing, what's needed, things like that. So we did have that twice in the last 6 months. But that's sent to all of our email subscribers and text subscribers and our website. So that could be an avenue. And then also, like Nicole was probably thinking, is that we both get phone calls, and she gets almost like 99% of phone calls. But we get phone calls and walk-ins, and the iRide email is very popular. And sometimes we'll have people that we work with letting us know if someone asked them about it. So I see what you're saying, that it's not the clearest, but if anyone ever has questions about it, then we're available, definitely available, and they can call the main line, which they do, but we're definitely available.
Nicole. Thank you, Catherine. Nicole.
Yes, sir. She mentioned what I was going to say about they can always call us or the art station and let us know if something is amiss at one of the bus stops.
Okay. I would like to, well, Colin, go ahead. I'll get in there. Go
Okay.
ahead, Colin.
Yeah, thanks. I was just going to add that I guess it was last week, I was waiting on the bus, and the app showed it at the bus station, at the transit station, and never leaving. And so the app was constantly telling me that the bus was going to be there in 8 minutes, and it took 15 minutes before the bus actually started moving from the transit station. I called the transit station, left a message because nobody answered. But is there any better way to find out, is the bus coming or not? Because it was kind of in a position of, is there not a driver? What are the options here? And it's really, there's lack of information when the app is just constantly showing you an 8 minute before arrival and nobody answers the phone. You're kind of left wondering, do I need to find another ride? Do I wait 5 more minutes? At what point does, with lack of information, does a normal person, figure out what to do?
Thank you, Colin.
So,
Barry, would you take that?
Well, I think as far as the response on the app, we don't run the app, but the city does have oversight over the app. So if we have an issue where the app is showing something and it isn't what ends up being the case, we do need to know about it, Colin. If you can get that info in which you did report it, but we need to know the specifics of what happened to it so that we can kind of backtrack and dig into why the app did what it did do. It's the only way we're going to get the app better. It could very well be a dropped space, a dropped area, the phone system. Any of those things will happen with technology. So we want it to work and want it to work right. And we need to know where and when it isn't working so that we can address that with the app folks. Other than that, as far as telling you how long should you wait and, what are your options, I can't give you the greatest answer for that, Colin. If you're waiting for a bus and it's 15 minutes past its time, I know I would not have the patience to go much more than 15 minutes. That's how I am. And be looking at my options at that point. When you call in, there are times when we've got someone on the phone who needs 4 or 5 different pieces of information and they're tied up on the phone. So we want to try to get to you whenever possible, but there's not always enough people there to be able to get you the answer you need. We are starting to get a better staffing of drivers, and we will then also add in with supervisors and dispatchers as we can. It has been a long haul getting staff back up. The pandemic and the effects here in Asheville were, as I think all of you know, pretty big on everything that requires people to be involved here in the city. So we continue to push on that. We will continue to push on that. We have added an additional position as an operations manager. LaShawn has been promoted to assistant general manager, and we are going to add an additional operations manager to the operation. So I think all of those things will help to streamline. But Colin, we don't want anybody left out there. I can see it happening though. I can see an app not getting you the info, or giving you the wrong info. And that's unfortunate. That's what we're living in, this world of well, LaShawn just put that note up. You reach out to her. She can dig into stuff. She's pretty quick at finding things out too. So that's what we want to do. We want to make it right and be as good at it as we possibly can. Hopefully that helps.
Barry,
Thank
we
you,
want it all to be successful. It's no accident. His name is Colin. Call in.
Okay.
Couldn't resist.
Amber has her hand up.
In terms of the app, and Colin, you have my communicate. You can text me and call me, and let us staff know. We really work together as a team with our folks at RATP Dev, and we work with Swiftly. We've had dropped there's dead areas, and we actually worked collaboratively with RATP Dev to actually utilize to get a second point of for our GPS tracking. So we also utilize the Lytix camera as well, just to try to create better coverage so we don't have as many of those issues where sometimes there's a delay or you don't know where it is in terms, but it is technology and there are issues. We do want you to reach out to let us know, because we can actually do a track back and look at the route through our technology and our software and see exactly what happened, and then we can work with Swiftly to see what happened. But we need to know exactly when it happened, which route, and then we can work together to get it fixed.
Kim has her hand raised.
This is Barry. I think I heard probably one of the best ahas I've heard in a while. And is that it has not made sense to me that I would see a bus coming through on a GPS and then it would just stall. I don't know why this is new, but the fact that it might have gone in and out of a service area, oh, what a relief. There have been many times where that's happened to me too. And I was like, how do you move a GPS system to the middle of a road I mean, it seems like data that would be really hard to fake. But the fact that it
No.
might like have a glitch in it, what a relief. And that made me wonder, is there a regular update to either equipment or software? Does it have to be manually done? Is it like something the system is supposed to do? And if that doesn't happen, can it be manually addressed? Because this is a new situation. I've never had the GPS totally glitch out. If anything, the little bus graphic that moves around doesn't show up, and I'll see that like I can call the next start and it shows when the next bus is. It's another one when a little bus graphic is moving and then it just doesn't ever come by.
Hmm.
In those cases, I've emailed staff and done what I thought was the next best step.
Right. And those are the things we have to do, Kim. We have to keep after it. I don't know if this is the right answer either. We're not the only ones that are short-staffed. We're not the only ones that are having trouble getting people to do things that need to be done. Verizon, AT&T, all of the internet providers. My internet went out at home this afternoon. No reason, just turned off. It's like, what is that? And sometimes it's the rain, but it's AT&T, for heaven's sakes. They've been around forever. How can it be that bad? Well, the fact is, when we first started with this GPS stuff, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, AT&T was the worst. It was the absolute worst. They had the worst coverage in this city and had dropped service here and there and everywhere. And Verizon wasn't much better. But what Amber mentioned was that we added an additional antenna from the bus. Yeah, this is probably
router.
Yeah,
a router.
It gives
tablet, and then now we have access.
Gives
to the
more
second.
information, and that way it can pick it up. As far as updating all those things, they are constantly. Yeah, it's nothing we have to update, but if they're having an issue, they need to hear it from us. They're not out. They're not checking the system, like our people would be doing, our passengers would be doing. If we see an issue, we need to get a hold of them and say, hey, this is happening here. Is there something going on? And I know there's times when the info will come back, hey, the antenna was down here. There's this happening, there was construction there, and it wiped out that whole zone. Those kind of things do happen. But we've got to try to communicate it as much as possible with those who are supplying that data.
And if we know, then we can play it back and work with Swiftly, who does our GPS and does our AVL. And then they can dig down into it. And we can also look at it. Sometimes we have detours that we don't, sometimes things just happen on the road that sometimes don't get communicated to staff to make the necessary changes. We're working on that. We're doing a better job with that. But sometimes we have those cases too, where it's like, where's the bus? And we also have had a lot of new drivers, and they also have to, they have to log into the tablet. They have to assign the route. There are things like that on the operational side and on the driver side that we have to make sure. And I know Barry and LaShawn work with this with the new drivers. But it's all like, oh, if we put one route, if somebody doesn't sign in, then you don't know which route. So, there's also, with the technology, there's operational issues too that everybody's trying to address. But if we can find out exactly when that happened, we can nail down into what actually was. Was it human? Was it technology? Was it the Wi-Fi, the connection wasn't working with the AVL system? So those are some things that we can track.
Thank you, Amber. I know her hand is not up, but I was wanting to get LaShawn's take on everything. She had her hand up one time before. LaShawn, do you have a take on this?
Everybody answered for me.
Oh, you're going to take that route? Okay.
Yes, I was just going to say, yes, we can take a look into it. And just like Amber just said, sometimes it is operator error. If that tablet isn't logged in, and passengers won't be able to see that information as well. So I put my number in the chat. So if you're not able to reach someone at the station, you will be able to reach me in the office, and I can look into it. I can check and see if that tablet's logged in. I can see where that bus is located for you. So, and I don't have a problem with you all calling or anyone calling to find out where that bus is.
Thank you, LaShawn. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
Mhm. I was wanting to go ahead and, I got something to say. For transit committee member updates and rider experience. Piggybacking on what Kim was referring to on Patton Avenue right there at Louisiana, I had gotten in touch with Catherine on that, LaShawn on that, and stop 895 is right there in that concrete block. And there used to be a bench in there. And the final outcome and plus it was dirty the time that a bunch of trash in it as well, because I'm going back and forth to Goodwill 3 times a week now, and I get a chance to look at it. And what they're doing is it's definitely in line for a shelter. I talked to Catherine. She gave me that information about stop number 895 and listed for the new stop. And it's in line for the new shelter. And the other stop on Patton Avenue is right at 911. It's down from Walgreens, but it can be improved. The thing that I'm alluding to is that I get a lot of positive things done as far as calling LaShawn. I get a lot of positive things done talking to Catherine. They are just a wealth of information, and they're like Johnny on the spot as far as getting things done. And I appreciate that very much. And then when you're also calling, getting back to the buses and knowing where they're at, there's a segment in there where you can leave your name and number. They will call you back. Yes, they will call you back. And another thing that I was wanting to do, I have my drivers. I always give some names of the drivers that are, I figure top notch for the last couple of weeks or whatever. But I was wanting to do it different this week. I asked the drivers, could I take their picture? And just it was just one day I was at transit going back and forth from Goodwill. So I had there it goes, right there. So I had Heather, Diane, Daniel, D, James, Charlene, and Cornbread. And I also asked their permission to take the pictures, and I told them I would be displaying it at the transit meeting. All said yes. And there they are. And I thank them for that. And the other thing that I was wanting to say is while we were waiting on our meeting, June the 11th, 2023, Transit had its 10-year anniversary. And the other thing that I would like to, I'll show it later. But that's about it for me. But I get a lot of positive feedback from talking to staff as far as getting things done. And Sandy has her hand raised, and we'll go to Sandy.
Thank you, Harvey. One thing I would like to start with, rider experience, are the new buses. I thank everyone that was involved in bringing the new buses for everyone. Everyone that has ridden those comment that they're really clean. They actually seem to be a little bit bigger, and they love the rope that you pull down to signify you want to stop at a bus stop. So all that is really exciting. And this afternoon, I was actually riding the N2, and there's a guy named Keith who he's pretty much a perfect driver, if I can say that. He's on point on everything that he does. And I let him know, if I could mention him and everything. He was like, sure, that's fine. And I thank the city staff for all that they do. And I thank Kim for all that she does for us. And I love being an advocate for bus riders because I get a whole lot of input from a lot of riders. And I'm glad that I can be a positive influence for the riders that ride the buses in Asheville.
Thank you, Sandy. I love that. Kim loves it too. Okay. Oh, are there any more rider experiences or updates? Moving on, I was wanting staff to go. Sandy brought it up, but this explains it. Departmental update, city staff monthly transit update memo. The new buses are included on that memo. Up to you, Amber.
Thank you. Sandy,
Go
thank
for
you
it.
for acknowledging it. I'd also like to acknowledge how quickly that staff at Transit was able to get those buses in, turn it around so then they could be on the street for the riders. We've been waiting for them. We're excited. They're in great shape. There's 3 of them. You'll see they've got the first number 23 on them, and I know they're out. I've seen them as well, and they're clean. They're really nice. I was excited. I went down and saw one like right when I got in, and I want to thank Barry and John and LaShawn. They all got those out really quick. I mean, sometimes it can take 2 to 4 weeks, just even with the supply chain issues, to get stuff in. Like we had to wait for some radios. I mean, they're using portable radios. I mean, they know that it was really important to get those on the street. So we're excited to have them. They're really nice, and just want to thank everybody for those. We've got 4 more coming in. They'll go into production in September. They're the ones that we just ordered in February. So we're excited to get those, as well as we will see. We're still working on our low-no grant. There's been some challenges with no longer being able to get the 30-foot hybrids due to they're not making them, and there's no suppliers that are doing the 30-foot hybrids. So we are working with FTA on other alternatives for us and looking at other options and looking at other different vehicles and maybe even some studies. So that's where we're at on that. We also, there's not much else in that memo, just that we still have our triennial review that will be at the 1st of September. That's working with FTA every 3 years on compliance issues in like 21 areas. We will be working with them this summer in terms of they'll be asking us in our regards to procurement and our subrecipient compliance, and we have yet to see those packets yet, but staff will be focused on that. And then we also we've had a lot of turnover in our grants analyst positions. So council just approved staff recommendation to go into a contract for grant administrative support and training services for staff for this year to help us administer our grants quicker, get some processes in, and to work on compliance issue with our subrecipients. So that's just my transit update for right now. So thank you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask.
Thank you, Amber. You stole some of my gusto.
Sorry.
But in monthly transit update, I figured some people would like to know as far as the driver count, what we have. We have 56 drivers full time. We have 6 in training, and we need 63. We have
Sorry.
Go ahead, LaShawn.
That number has since changed since this come out. I have 58 operators
good.
now.
58?
58, and I believe by the end of, before our next meeting, it'll be higher than that. So
Great. I love that. I love it. Love it. And like I said, we have 31 buses now. The next thing that I was wanting to show is this is one of our new buses, 2349, has the ramp down. It was brand new, shiny, spanky, yellow and black. It was nice. And it smelled nice and good. That's one of the pictures. And here's another picture. You can see the shine on the bus on the front. Nice and clean. That's the WE2. And here's another one. I'm not too good at showing pictures. And that's the side of the bus. Put all the emblems on it. And the thing about the passengers, I told them all, I said, y'all riding on a new bus. This is the first day it's been out. They said, do we get a free pass? Do we get free passes? I said, no. That took the gusto out of their sales. But they were happy, and they got a chance to use the handicap spot. First time the bus was at the station. And that was great. And here's another picture of the bus as it's pulling off. And one more, the back end of it. And this one is kind of cute. Even the buses, even the birds have a place up at the station. You can go right down and feed them. They love that. They like part of the station. And that's everything that I have for that. Let me get back to my sheet. Did anyone have any other monthly transit update memo? Anything they want to talk about the memo? If not, is there anything operations update that they would like to talk about? Okay. Before we adjourn, I would like to thank everyone for coming. Members, committee members and staff, I'm glad y'all came on this day. And as far as I would like to wish Catherine, Transit Project Coordinator, a happy birthday today. And I would like to congratulate LaShawn on her Assistant General Manager position. And I'll turn it over to Kim before I adjourn.
Thank you. Sorry to be taking up so much time. I did notice that in the Transit Committee agenda that's posted on the city's website, when you click on the ridership report, the ridership report is the only document on the agenda that needs a permission. So I'm not sure if that's meant to be available to the public. I imagine all the documents want to be able to access them. I bring this up because I already sent the email that I promised to the Transit Committee and multimodal members asking about those informal recommendations, and I linked to this document. So if they're going to be able to go through and access those documents as well, I want to make them public. And while I was reviewing the documents for this meeting, I noticed in the RAP PDEV report at the bottom what seemed like it might be an error, but in the last page 16, the total hours and miles missed or gained revenue service, it said that on May 4th, bus number 1802 for the S3 route inbound, missed miles or gained was 261. And I wondered if that might be an error. It said it was due to traffic being backed up from an accident. So I'm not sure if there's an error in the reporting for missed hours, but that you might want to check on that since we have a system where we pay for the contract based on hours acquired or missed. It seemed a little high.
Yeah, I'll check on it. I'll check on it.
Mm-hmm. Nicole has her hand up.
Hey, Kim, the link has been fixed.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. If there are no more comments to be discussed, I adjourn this meeting. And next time we meet will be July the 18th, 2023. Thank you, everyone and all, for coming.
Thank
Thank you,
everyone.
Harvey.
Thank you.
Thanks.